What's up, guys? Hi, welcome to today's workout. I trained chest and triceps on Wednesday. It's now Monday. I actually still felt my chest. Upon warming up, I felt like I basically immediately got a pump, which kind of is a sign that I'm not really fully recovered, if that makes sense. I just felt it in my muscle. I felt the blood rushing in there, and I really felt like the muscle truly wasn't recovered yet. So, 24 sets on chest and triceps last Wednesday. All of them were to failure. Probably at least 12 of them were chest. So 12 sets of chest to failure is too much. Wasn't recovered in 5 days, as I said. I'm literally weaker. I'm also heavier, by the way. Sorry for the dog barking in the background. Can't stop him. He's downstairs. So we're looking at losing reps on basically all the sets. Compared to exactly 1 week ago, I did 3-2-2. Now I did 3-2-1. In addition, 1 week ago, I attempted a fourth rep on that first three. So we're looking at significant strength losses. I was significantly weaker. It was hard to imagine that this was the same weight. I kept thinking, well, maybe this is 110. And, I just did the math in my head, like, this isn't 110, this is 100. So, I was a bit surprised by how weak I was. So, kind of a tragic result. Maybe some of it can come down to the fact that I slept too little tonight, started my summer job, went to bed too late. I worked all day in an office, so really light work. Maybe the stress got to me. Honestly, I think it's the sleep, and I think it's just training so hard. I also did manual labor on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I worked doing pre-commercial fitting with a device. I'm not sure what it's called in English, but it's basically a hip-mounted circular saw with, it's to saw down smaller trees and brush cutter, probably it's called. So, carrying that thing around, it weighs about 10 kilos, walking in extremely uneven terrain, doing about 1 hectare across 3 days of a very, very dense young stand. And that hectare I didn't do in 3 8-hour sessions. I did it in a much shorter time than that. I can't remember how many hours. I think 14 hours or something I worked the last 3 days physically. But it definitely took a toll, unfortunately. So combination of factors, confluence. When I look at my physique in the mirror, I definitely am getting fatter, and I'm also really bloated. I'm eating a lot of bullshit foods right now, bro. I'm not happy with it. The problem is on carnivore, I didn't really have that much energy, but right now I'm starting to become fat. So, something needs to change. I need to clean up my diet a bit. But honestly, right now, I'm a bit worried about my weight gain, but I'm actually not going to do anything about it. The reason is I have a singular focus right now physically, and that's to get stronger. I don't want to be distracting myself with a cut in the middle of this. Definitely not. I'm going to fight this fight until I finally get past, break even, when I start getting back to my best lifts and when I start hitting new PRs. And then, I want to keep going for many more weeks or months so that I actually become significantly stronger than where I'm at today. The fact is, you can always cut later. Right now, I have no reason to reap the rewards of being lean in terms of looking better for other people, in terms of gaining status personally. That's complete bullshit at this point. I really don't need it where I'm at in my life right now. Maybe not in 6 months, but right now I definitely don't need it. And I just need to focus 100% on getting stronger. I need to get out of this fucking hole, bro. I need to get out of it. It's enough, man. I'm really fed up. I'm definitely going to be back in the gym tomorrow hitting legs. As I said, my summer job started. I'm also going to be working probably 1 day on weekends as well. Throughout a lot of the summer, I've kind of realised that mum's property needs a lot of work. I definitely will be working more than 40 hours a week this summer, but I really don't give a fuck about that. I'm definitely not going to use that as an excuse. I'm completely back into the grind mindset again, the grind set, the Sigma grind set. Yes, I'm literally saying that unironically, by the way. I'm definitely on this shit, bro. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop now. I'm hitting some resistance, but you know, it's just a bullshit test at this point, bro. Fuck this test. I'm gonna destroy this test. You know, I just need to keep going. Obviously not just bang my head against the wall, not be stupid, but I need to do what works. And I think that's going to be fairly moderate volume, high intensity. So this workout basically is somewhat low volume, to be honest, but I'm going to be doing this twice a week, also doing legs twice a week. Maybe cardio once a week, optional, honestly. Cardio is another thing that, you know, it would be nice to do, but if I'm going to be pre-commercial thinning once a week or twice a week, for 4 to 6 hours maybe a piece, you know, that is moderate. That's really light cardio. You know, it's probably fairly equivalent to bicycling around. I mean, it's significantly more challenging than walking, and it's also significantly less challenging than jogging. But I mean, it's a very serious calorie burn. It's a very serious physical exertion exercise. You're definitely destroyed when you get home. So I'm probably going to do that for kind of my base level of cardio, and just not really ignore the cardio, just hit the weights, bro. As I said, I'm just so fed up with being stuck now. I'm not going to accept this. About 1.5 weeks ago, I just gave up on this. When I mean give up, I just mean giving up who I was, you know, the last few months, maybe even an entire year, just not really taking the training that seriously. Fuck all that. That's not me anymore. I'm going to hit the weights now like a fucking bastard. However, we have to be realistic, and what I did on Wednesday was an unrealistic workout. I trained so hard that I'm literally not recovered after 5 days. I'm literally weaker after 5 days. So that's not okay. Can't train that hard. But I'm definitely going to be training hard, and I need to maintain a consistent scheduled training, because when you have a consistent schedule, then you can very quickly realize if you're training too much or too little. However, if you're fucking around, you're sometimes training twice in a row, and then you're sometimes training once a week, and you're training different body parts, different exercises, and so on, you never get into this grind where you find that balance between minimum effective volume and maximum recoverable volume. So what you want to do is you want to have a routine, and the reason is not just for your consistency and your sanity and all the psychological factors, but also just so that you can find a kind of a sweet spot where your body starts to do the work for you and actually starts piling on the muscle. And I just know that I can get back to where I was because I've literally been there before. I'm also older. I'm also probably, you know, I probably have a bit better bone density. Maybe I don't, to be honest, but, you know, I'm supposed to be better because I'm 22 right now. I don't really know when my prime will be. Strength prime is supposed to be like 35, to be honest. So I have many years to get there. But, you know, otherwise, you know, I definitely should be in better shape at 22 than 20. So at this point, you know, the excuses need to stop. They basically stopped 1.5 weeks ago, but even during this recording, you know, I voiced some concerns of the things I've been doing the last week. So yeah, it's excuses. But the point is really with those that, you know, maybe I can voice the problems, but, you know, I just can't let the problems get to me. So you know what, maybe I just shouldn't voice the problems at least as much. I mean, I want you guys to know that I'm not just completely sedentary outside of this, but at the same time, who cares? Like, you're just supposed to make progress. If you don't make progress, no one gives a shit, bro, especially if you're at my level. So at this point, I just need to lock in. So I will be seeing you guys tomorrow on legs. Goodbye.